All of my content is also posted on 5colorcombo.com, a great website for all of your Magic the Gathering needs, including articles, podcasts, and custom Magic the Gathering tokens and playmats. As a subscriber to my channel, you can use the discount code NEEDSAHONE5 for a 5% discount in their store. You can find the link in the description below. Hello everyone, I am Needsahone, and it's time for my weekly draft video. We're doing some more Kaladesh, and this pack is pretty stacked. I like first picking Visionary Augmenters and Weaponcraft enthusiasts. Sometimes even Thriving Rhino is a solid first pick if the pack's weak. But we have a crazy rare Confiscation Coup. Even if you have 0 energy synergies, this thing's nuts. Mind Control's always really strong. You have to think of it as, it's basically a 2-for-1 in terms of removal, because you take away your opponent's creature and you gain one. So it's sort of like saying, destroy target 4/4, you gain control of a 4/4. I mean, obviously that's the ideal, but that's what makes a card like that so strong, and that's what we'll take. Obviously, we'll take any energy synergies that go along with it, because it gets even better if you can steal your opponent's big scary creatures. And speaking of big scary creatures, we have an Arborback Stomper here, who's a card I love. We also have Hunt the Weak, which is solid and probably the second best card in this pack. I also like Doomed Operative okay, but I think we definitely take the Arborback Stomper here, and maybe we go blue-green. Those are colors that like to make energy, and being green also means you sometimes have the opportunity to splash things. Okay. Well, here we have a Prophetic Prism, which is a strong card. It can let us splash. I mean, it's way stronger than it looks. But there's also Glintnest Crane. Also, John-Jeet Sentry, who gives us energy. I bet we might be able to wield this if we really want energy. But it's either Glintnest Crane or Prophetic Prism for me. The green cards here, I mean, this is a strong sideboard card, but they're not great. And John-Jeet Sentry's solid. He's kind of like a bad Master Decoy, which is still a pretty good card. But I think I'm going to take the Crane. I mean, chances are we end up with enough artifacts to make it worth it. Even though the Prism would be nice, we'll take the Crane there. Okay. Well, here we're given a strong blue card, an Ether Meltdown. There's also a Chandra's Pyrohelix. Also gives us energy, so we already have a payoff for that. And in general, these two colors loved having energy. Hopefully we can see another Thriving Rhino that we actually get a chance to pick. But yeah, we'll take Ether Meltdown. We can take the Pyrohelix, especially because green's not looking super open. But I actually think Ether Meltdown is just better than Pyrohelix. Pyrohelix, by the time this comes up, I think my video will probably be up or about to be up about the cards. I overrated my limited review, and Pyrohelix is one of them. I thought it was going to be so strong, and it's just not, especially. There's just too many creatures that don't only have 1 toughness or 2 toughness, and it just gets to be bad. So, this pack, we could switch to white and take a Thriving Ibex. The blue card here isn't one I love. It's okay. But I find myself cutting that particular card a lot. We could take Narnum Cobra, which is a fine green card, and there's also Appetite for the Unnatural, which I usually feel fine about playing one of. I think I'm going to take one of them and try to sort of cut green here. Yeah, I'm going to take the removal. Well, Botanical Sanctum, and that might just actually be the pick here. None of these cards here scream out to me that any particular color is open. Inventor's Goggles is good. How much is Botanical Sanctum worth? That may seal the deal for me, because the goggles are a solid card. I mean, and we do have reason to want artifacts in our Glintnest Crane if we don't end up with more things. It's worth about $1, so I think that may just push me over to just taking it. It'll make our mana better too, so we might as well. And I guess there's a chance we end up having to splash green instead of playing it, but we shall see. For Glintnest Crane, I usually do want to have about 5 artifacts. I mean, it's still playable if you have 0. That's kind of the nice thing about taking it, is its floor isn't super low, and its ceiling can get pretty high. 2 mana, 1/3 flyer draws you a card is pretty real. So we'll just have to see what we get going forward. Okay, well, here's a Wild Wanderer who can further solidify our ability to splash. Here also, though, is a Fabrication module, and so far we have 2 ways of gaining energy. And it being there means that a heavy energy deck is a real possibility. It's a very strong engine. While Wild Wanderer and Sage are fine for what we're trying to do, as well as High Tide Hermit, I think I'm just going to take this module, and we're going to try to push energy pretty hard here. because module's strong. Okay, we could take another Appetite for a sideboard. We could also just take Ether Hub, though. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I mean, Blade Master is fine and all, but this further increases our ability to splash, and it gives us energy, both things that we seem to want. Okay, select for inspections, probably the pick here. Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot's worth looking at, and if we end up with, like, lots of energy synergies, which we already have a few of, I would think about taking it, but Select for Inspection is just the best card in this pack anyway, so we'll take it. Okay, so this Hermit made it back, which we suspected it might, and I think we do want it now that we are in energy deck. We definitely need more creatures, too. Now I'll take the Sentry. So it looks to me like we're going to be able to get there. Although there is some chance green ends up not being involved, actually. That's the one area where we may not get there, which kind of sucks. We may have to end up changing our secondary color, but why did you go over there? Whoop. So I guess we're just going to take Cow Prowler. It's not a bad card at all. I mean, I've played it a few times. Okay, now we'll take a Blade Master, although we could think about the Ibex. Like, if we end up having to abandon green. Yeah, I'm going to take the Ibex. It's just a better card. And if we end up switching to white, it goes well with our energy stuff, and +1/+1 counter stuff, should we end up with it. So, yeah. I mean, Arborback Stomper is definitely the best of our green cards. Like, and other than that, we didn't get that strong of green cards. It was just my second pick, so this Ibex being there may be an indication why it's open enough. So for now, I think we're going to we're going to see what we get here, but blue-white seems like it might be more likely. And white's not nearly as good at making energy as green is, but if blue is as open as it looks like it is, where you get a late Janjit Sentry, we can probably still make it in the energy realm. Ooh. Well, there's a reason to be red, for sure. We also have a Wild Wanderer for if we were going to be base green. But yeah, Whirler Virtuoso is really strong if we can make a lot of energy. Thriving Turtle's pretty good too, but Whirler Virtuoso is just so strong. In terms of, like, you know, since we're only really sealed in on blue, we could think about a lot of cards here. Like Underhanded Design's pretty good, though we're not exactly loaded on artifacts at this point. And Aetherborn Marauder's good too, but Whirler Virtuoso is just the best card here, so we're going to take it. If we do end up in green, it isn't that hard to splash a Whirler Virtuoso either, so it's not going to be hard to splash. I mean, we could just end up blue-red as well, so which is better at making energy certainly than white. So we'll see. I guess we'll just stick all these things over here. But yeah, I mean, we have already 2, 3, 4, 5-ish cards that make energy. Man, now there's a Cloud Blazer tempting me with every 2-color combination there is. I feel like because we already have, man. With Fabrication Module, oh man. Whirler Virtuoso is definitely way better with Fabrication Module than Cloud Blazer. But Cloud Blazer is just so good. Ether Theorist is maybe like the safe pick here, the card that our deck like actually definitely wants. Gear Seeker Serpent's fine too. But I think we got it. I think we got to think about taking this Cloud Blazer. We already have one white card that does make energy. There's a small chance we find a way to splash Whirler Virtuoso even in the absence of green, but it is harder. We'd have an Ether Hub at least. But yeah, I gotta take Cloud Blazer. Yeah, I can't say no. Can't say no to that. Okay. So what do we have here? We have an Aviary Mechanic, which is solid if we're gonna be white. Yeah, it's kind of looking like we will be. So the blue cards here aren't great. I mean, a second select would be good, but I don't want to take it right now. I'm sure I'll see another one. Bastion Mastodon solid. There's like no green here, which I think sort of reflects what our problem has been with green. And the red cards here aren't great anyway, so I think it's just Aviary Mechanic. I mean, even with our cards that just make energy, especially if you have Fabrication Module in play, that gets to be pretty strong. pretty strong. I mean, we could theoretically try splashing green still, but we don't really have anything worth splashing. So the Sanctum may just end up in our sideboard. Oh, just saying, like, you know, splashing. Tune with Ether is the kind of card that this deck also really wants. I mean, the good news is there's so many playables in this format that, like, no matter where we go, we'll probably end up with enough playables. Self-Assembler's in this pack too, which is really strong. But, and Malfunction's fine. I mean, it is removal, but I think I'm going to take a tune here, and we're going to try to see if we can at least splash red for the Virtuoso. As good as Blazer is, our deck's looking like it's going to be better with green, probably, and Cal probably can come back too. Because, like, a card that gives me energy and helps me fix is just a really strong card for us. Inventor's Fair. Yeah, we don't really need that. Puzzle Knots. Yeah, here, I mean, Chandra's Pyrohelix is actually a pretty strong card. We could still think about, I guess this is out too, maybe anyway, depending on how these picks go. We could still think about just being straight up blue-red, theoretically, but I think I'm just going to take a High Tide Hermit and try to go all in on this energy plan. Yeah, we're going to do that. We could take Blossoming Defense, which is a solid card, but I'm going to take the Hermit. Yeah, blue even hasn't seemed ultra open coming from this side. Well, I say that, and then we get Experimental Aviator. And Durkara Peafowl, and freaking Ether Torch Renegade. Another card that's trying to nudge me into just being straight up blue-red, I think. And it might just do it. Just so much energy. And he has a powerful ability, but there's an Experimental Aviator, which is a fine card. It's a good card, even. They're probably comparable cards. It's a hard choice. Picking my second color has not come easy. We're going to take the Aviator. It's just a safer pick since we feel like blue is open and we're unsure about other things. Okay, well, black also looks pretty open. Another good red card. Yeah, if I'd picked red cards in the last three, I'd probably be in a lot better shape. But I'll take the trade wins here. We'd have an Aviator who's good with it, and all of our energy guys are at least okay with it. So, yeah, green is getting taken by everybody. For sure. Yeah, I mean, like, Cow Prowler's not a great sign. Well, now Master of Inquiries, if we can really get an energy engine going, and we do seem capable of it, is actually a good card. I think I take it here over High Tide Hermit. Only one of our green cards makes energy, too. We have a lot more blue and or red, or even white cards. There's one white card we have that makes energy, so... Yeah, I think green's probably... I mean, I saw that attune and was tempted by it, but I think it's either going to be... I think it's either going to be white or red as our second color. We do have some synergy with Cloud Blazer already with our mechanics and stuff. Right, Thriving Turtle's great, and I think it's what we'll take here. More energy. I would love another Fabrication module at this point. Decoction module actually wouldn't be bad in our deck either. We'd have a ton of fives already, I guess. But yeah, I mean, these two white cards anyway are perfect, and obviously Cloud Blazer are all good. And as much as I like Virtuoso, we just may not be able to play it since green isn't open enough for us. Well, blue-black, except we don't have a ton of artifacts anyway. Ether Theorist is probably just better for our deck because we haven't really gotten there on artifacts. And it makes us energy, and it scries. It just does a lot of work. Yeah, blue is really open. It's kind of sad we have this Sanctum, and we may not play it at all. I'll take another select here. More ways to interact. Sounds good to me. Hell, we could just go mono blue, I guess. Mono blue plus Whirler Virtuoso. It's not the worst. We do need to pick up like an Era of Innovation or something to really like get rolling with this card. Obviously, it's good anyway when you can save up a bunch of energy. Yeah, I'll take a Late Malfunction pretty readily. It's our only 4. Kind of funny. We'll take Fire Forger's Puzzle Knot. I doubt we run it, but Rebuff isn't the worst sideboard card, at least. Right, pack 3. What are you going to show me here? What are you going to show me? Well, Master Trinketeer is a strong white card, certainly. Wouldn't mind either getting the Master or the Thriving Turtle back on the wheel. I think the Trinketeer probably is just the strongest card in this pack. Pima Outrider is also very good. Impeccable timing, solid. So, we do have a couple Thopters, so we do have a little bit of synergy with it. Our Glintness Crane right now only can find 1 card, which is kind of sad. So, do we take the Trinketeer, or do we take another energy generator like our Master? But I bet either the Master or the Turtle will wheel to us anyway. I think I'm just going to take the stronger white card here. Okay, Skywhaler's Shot may have just sealed the deal for me into white. Yeah, I think it has. Sorry, Whirler Virtuoso. I tried to hold on to you. I tried. But this is where we are now, and it's not a bad place to be. Narnum, Cobra, and Appetite for the Natural, of course, both fine cards we could think about. But Skywhaler's Shot's just an incredibly strong card. Ibex is fine for our deck too, obviously. We have lots of places to put energy, so some of them aren't as amazing as others, but there's still places. Okay, Wisp-Weaver Angel, when you have Cloud Blazer and Experimental Aviator, it's pretty hard to turn down. Another Ether Theorist I wouldn't hate, but it's pretty hard to turn that down. Foil Botanical Sanctum, huh? Well, we're going to take the Wisp-Weaver, though. Yeah, we're not playing Metalwork Colossus, I can tell you that. Here we probably do take an Ether Theorist. That's somewhere to spend energy that is maybe not the most impactful, but is certainly... it is more impactful than it seems, I guess, is what I should say. Stick this hub over here. Padim. Of course, you'd show up when I have, like, no artifacts in sight. I guess we take either, like, Eager Construct or a Gear Seeker. We have 1 card that generates artifacts, a 2nd card that is an artifact, and a 3rd card that generates an artifact. I'm not sure that's enough to play the Gear Seeker, but I think it's more likely I play it than Eager Construct. All my 2s are just better than he is. So even Glintness Crane, I guess. So but we'll take the snake, the serpent. Padim is actually pretty good, but in our deck that's just like we have no artifacts. She's not really worth taking. Okay, ooh, Glimmer of Genius. Thriving Rhino. What? I mean, obviously we can't. I mean, whites, even with Thriving Rhino and some of this, and like Arborback Stomper, our white cards are far stronger than our green ones. Like, even if we took Thriving Rhino. So I may take a P-Foul here, because I'm sort of desperate for another artifact for Glintness Crane, but at the same time, we could also just run Glimmer of Genius, or we could take another Ether Theorist, but I think I'm going to take the Glimmer. At this point, we probably don't need, like, one of our High Tide Hermits. I would probably do that. And Gear Seeker Serpent's also not being played, really, unless we get enough artifacts, which seems unlikely at this point. Okay. Yeah. Not particularly excited about any of these cards. I mean, Pyrohelix being here late may mean... I mean, I think red was pretty open, but the powerful white cards we got were too hard to say no to. Another rebuff. We could take another 2, I guess, that maybe we side in if we feel like we need another 2, but I don't think we play him. I think I'd rather play High Tide Hermit than him. Okay. Well, Nimble Innovator, I guess. Also, probably not getting played. Though we do have Wispbeaver Angel and Ether Trade Winds and Aviary Mechanics, so it's worth thinking about. Okay, great. Do we want another Master or do we want another Thriving Turtle? That is the question. And it's a hard one. The Master can actually present a pretty quick clock in this format if you have like ways to slow the game down and stuff like that, and can make the game last a while. It can kill your opponent, but I think I still like Thriving Turtle a little more than the Master. We already have one Master anyway. I guess we'll take another Trade Winds. It can be particularly good against people running combat tricks, but we probably only mainboard one. Sad I only got one Fabrication module. That's okay. We are pretty close to mono blue, and our mana is going to be pretty good with Ether Hub. We could still think about playing this Hermit. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be, if you get Fabrication Module and play with this deck, it's going to be pretty sweet. And we do have ways to dig for it. Our Ether Theorist, our Glimmer of Genius, even our Glint Crane, it's like the only artifact he can hit. So, but if it's one of the top 4 cards in my library, I get to draw it, and oftentimes that's going to be well worth it. But 99% of the time, this is just going to be a 1/3 flyer in our deck. It should say Artifact or Artificer. That would make things a little better for us. Ooh, another Theorist or a Bastion Mastodon. I kind of feel like, I mean, if this is out, I guess, maybe we could use another 5 and cut, like, Thriving Ibex. But do I just want, like, another early blocker who helps me dig? I think I probably... we could use another big creature, honestly. And it's another artifact, so it makes Glint Crane marginally better, and I probably would cut. Even though the Ibex gives me energy, it seems like we have enough ways to make it. I don't think I want to cut any of the 5s, although it could be the Hermit instead of the Ibex. Yeah, it may just be both Hermits. As nice as they are at making energy, we just have better ways, more efficient ways of making it. So, yeah, and we have 2 like big payoffs for making energy. Quicksmith Genius. I think you're better than being that late in the pack. So yeah, red probably, wow. Well, we have a second malfunction for the sideboard. I don't think we want to mainboard 2 of them in this deck. We just have better stuff going on. So let's look at how many ways we have to make energy. It's a lot, and it'll help me determine if I should cut some of the other things that make energy. So you guys make energy. You're an energy payoff, and you make energy. Energy, 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 and energy. So 10 of the cards of the spells in our deck make energy, which is pretty strong. That is plenty. Oh, this too, I guess. So 11 even. Yeah, that's pretty good. We also have a little bit of the Blink theme going on. We're like an energy deck, but that can also like abuse Cloud Blazers and Experimental Aviators and things like that. And that works well with energy to some degree too, because they all enter the battlefield with energy. This would have been a really fun deck to get Panharmonicon with, but what are you going to do? So yeah, I think this is our deck. I mean, our payoffs for energy, we can win the game potentially with Minister of Inquiries. Fabrication Module can just win you the game with all the counters. Confiscation Coup can just be game-breaking because we can basically steal almost anything. Thriving Turtle is the kind of energy win condition that can actually win you the game as long as you play it on turn 1. Janjit Sentry can just shut down their best creature indefinitely. It's like a bad deadlock trap. And yeah, so I mean, I feel pretty good about what we have to do with our energy and so forth. We're going to sort by color. And I think we do leave that Mastodon in. We didn't have a lot of big monsters to help us, and it's basically a white card. We do have like nice early blockers, but it's nice to have him too. We have the hub, which is obviously can produce either and also produce energy. So is 11.5 right now? Probably not, especially with Wisp-Beaver Angel. I think we're probably okay with going 9.7 even. I mean, the thing about our blue, I guess, is that it can help us draw into more white. But we have Ether Hub, so that's like a 10-8 split, which is perfectly reasonable, I think. So there we have it. Looks like this is going to be a pretty fun deck to play. I'm pretty excited to play it, so I'll see you guys in the matches. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.